Hey, this is Camille with a K. Welcome to another video with a fresh new haircut, a little beard trim. It's much easier to drink, even though, there's a lid, so it was always not that hard for a bearded man. Nonetheless, it's great to feel fresh and ready for another video. And today I actually want to talk a little bit about how you can compare a coffee to a steak, and why you might find that big chains, you might have a little bit more bitter experience with a lot of the coffees from big chains. The first thing that I found out, and again, this is very basic coffee knowledge. I'm aware that some of you already know all this stuff, so you might skip ahead. Obviously, there's a quality difference in beans. There's a basic difference in quality of beans when you grow them. While there are many factors that play a role, I'm just going to divide them into two. Let's say the high quality beans that you can grow are usually placed in high altitude areas in countries around the coffee belt around the world. And what that does is there's not a lot of oxygen because the air gets thinner, right? So the coffee bean needs to, just like your body, if you're an athlete and you work out there, your body accumulates more red blood cells to essentially carry more oxygen throughout your body. The coffee bean grows slower, especially in shaded areas, in those high altitude areas. It grows slower and it absorbs more flavor over time. It builds up more flavor. It takes time. And what happens with high quality beans as well is that they're not very homogeneous, and there's a huge fall off, so essentially you lose a lot of it because for high quality beans you don't want to use a lot of pesticides either. Now on the other hand, when you have low quality or lower quality beans, you grow them in farms on lower territories, not necessarily in the mountains, lower altitudes, and almost no shade, so they get a lot of sun exposure, which makes them grow fast. Farmers tend to use pesticides quite a bit, actually. I'm going to make an episode on that. I was actually very surprised to hear how strong the pesticide users in the coffee industry, something that was new to me as well. And when you have those fast-growing beans that are homogeneous, you can grow a lot of them, but they don't taste as strong. The flavor profile is not as pronounced as in the high-quality beans that you would have from a slower, higher altitude growth. So we have the difference in the quality, and now when we take that whole thing back on how I compare it to a steak, think about it this way. Imagine the situation when you go to a steakhouse and you order a filet mignon while your buddy orders a shank. When you both get it very rare, you'll definitely taste the difference. While if you both get it very well done, there's almost nothing. And you will certainly see the difference in price, but not necessarily see the difference in taste. And that's essentially the same idea with coffee. You can have a high quality bean, but the more you roast it, the darker you roast it, the less of the advantages of the full flavor of a high quality bean you will have. And that's basically the idea. Let me get over the three different roasting styles again. In a light roast, the flavors are much more acidic and fruity, because that's as close as you can get to the actual coffee cherries flavor. Whereas in the medium roast, the coffee tastes much more balanced and sweet, and that's because the glucose has been heated up and activated, but it hasn't been burned off yet. While in the dark roast, you can predominantly taste the bitterness in the flavor, and that's because the flavor you get when you burn things is generally bitter. The difference in taste between the low quality and high quality beans almost goes away, or it's very, very small of a difference in the darker you roast it. And that's why it's mostly more economical for big chains to buy cheap, or cheaper than they would for high quality beans, and then roast them darker. Now, don't get me wrong, I didn't want to make this video to bash on large chains or anything like that. It might very well be that people in America just prefer dark roasts, and in that case, it would just be stupid from a business standpoint to buy the high quality beans and then just roast them dark. At least it doesn't make sense in my eyes. Maybe there's a couple of other factors as well. This is probably the economical way to go. May not be the way of the coffee connoisseur, and just to keep it in mind, I don't want to become a coffee snob or anything like that. You'll see me in a Starbucks or in any other big chain just as much as you'll see me in a small farm on Maui or Molokai, which is where I might be going next week. And I hope that you will join me in enjoying the finer beans in life. Take care. See you in the next one. By the way, little side note right here, if you ever find yourself in Waikiki, then you'll see this canal here. It's called the Alawai. And just be aware, even though you see some very brave people in this canal doing their sports and their exercise, be careful. Do not walk into this water. Do not touch it. Don't jump into it. You will get very sick. Some interesting fish in here too. It's almost like this three-eyed fish from The Simpsons. The stuff that you find here. Back in 2006, we had a lot of rain. I think it was about 40 days of straight rain. And the government had to make a decision on whether or not they would let the toilets in Waikiki blow up, which would be probably not that good for the tourism industry here. Or if they would dump all the gray water and brown water, meaning all the excrements and all the dirt, right into this stream here. This is what they did, and ever since it's been pretty horrible. I mean, it doesn't smell, and they are cleaning it up, but yeah, do not go in there. Don't want to screw up your Hawaii vacation, but just in case you're here in Waikiki, do not ever walk into this water or touch it or whatever. Not even for photos or anything like that. Just stay on the other side, which is the ocean side. And it's just a couple blocks away. It's much better to hang out there anyway. That's just a little side note. Take care.